And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 501. Today is Monday, November 18th, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community of crypto every day, Monday through Friday. Of course, we try to do at 10ish. However, this weekend on Tuesdays, we will be changing that time, so just make sure you have those notifications on and that bell. Of course, today we got a lot of top stories. We'll be talking about extremely dangerous Bobby Lee regrets backing Bitcoin SegWit 2X. Bank of America ISIS ex PayPal CFO's account, and he's being asked, did you buy any Bitcoin? German airline company Han Air issues tickets on the blockchain. And last but not least, CoinDesk had a makeover. We're definitely going to talk about that. But first and foremost, let me go ahead and jump on these prices. I know that's what a lot of people always want to hear about. Bitcoin is down. Everything's down. Everything's in the red. As we see, Bitcoin's at $8,330, down 2.45% on a 24-hour cycle. Ethereum's at $179.79, down 2.79%. XRP is at 25 cents. Wow, 0.255, down 3.54%. And I remember, months ago at this point, some people called out 25 cents as their buy-in price. I know we had hit it once since that time, about a month or so ago, but this is the second time probably in about, I would say almost 6 months, we hit 25 cents for XRP. So for those looking at a good buy-in point, that might be it. Bitcoin Cash is down 5.28% at $253.94. Litecoin's at $56.82, down 4.86%. And EOS is down negative 2.24%. I said down negative, hilarious. Down 2.24%, and they are at $3.33 today. So again, market's bleeding. It's all in the red. Everything's terrible. The world's going to end for crypto. There we go. Captain James T. Crypto right on time says strong hand since $400 USD. That is the way to do it. And again, I want to thank everybody for those comments on the video for our 500th video where we had Shannon Allen from CryptoCoin. Make sure you download that wallet if you're interested in learning about cryptocurrencies and trading and all that good stuff. But it was a great show. And again, thanks for all the congratulations on that. And we're going to keep rolling to the 1,000th episode for sure. Just chilling. What's going on? Just chilling said all manipulation, strong hands. What's going on, Evan? That's right. It is all manipulation. Again, we always talk about the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin hasn't changed. People, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. You know, the dollar price has changed. The dollar's being manipulated, but the technology for Bitcoin continues to improve, as we always say. So I'm not too worried about it. Now, this is something we discussed a couple years ago when it happened. You know, SegWit 2X, the whole, for those who don't know, it was the whole business side of Bitcoin, basically all the big businesses and the government working together to hard fork Bitcoin to basically control and have their own Bitcoin and have you believe it was real Bitcoin. Now, when that happened, there was a lot of names on this list that it was called the New York Agreement. They all met at an apartment in New York, summertime. And they tried to push, again, in 2017, I think it was like August of 2017, they tried to push this whole SegWit 2X. Now, on that list, there are names like Vinny Lindgren from CiviCkey. There were names, I believe Coinbase's Brian Armstrong was on it. Jeff Garzlick was on there. Of course, he was one of the main people leading it. Bobby Lee was on it. All these big CEOs and business people in Bitcoin were on it. And when it didn't pass, and by the way, for those who don't know, not only did that hard fork not happen, but it did not happen because 24 hours before it was actually going to happen. I mean, within 24 hours of this fork happening, the supporters of it, including Jeff Garzlick, one of the main people, came out and said they were not going to do it. And that was the issue to begin with. It was proved that they were actually trying to hijack the entire network because a group of people in a hotel room should not have the ability to say this is the direction Bitcoin is going. And that's what they were doing. The fact that they were able to cancel that fork within 24 hours of them actually doing it showed that they didn't have community consensus. And after that happened, everyone in the community basically was like, all right, there you have it. You have a whole list of names you should never trust in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency again, like ever trust again. And one of the things we said during that time, and one of the things we continue to harp on, is that these people always come back 2 years later, a year and a half at this point, a year later, because of the speed at which information changes. But they always come back and they try to pitch you a new project. They try to pitch you a new ICO or a new idea, when in reality, these are the same people who tried to hijack the entire network and just take it all over. So with all that being said, one of those supporters have come out in the news. Bobby Lee has come out. Bitcoin's failed hard fork attempt from 2017, 2x. SegWit 2x was, quote, extremely dangerous and irresponsible, says a CEO who is formerly one of his biggest supporters. In a series of tweets on November 16, Bobby Lee admitted he was wrong to tout the long dead Bitcoin scaling solution. He's quoted as saying, 2 years ago, I thought SegWit 2x was the best path forward for Bitcoin, Lee wrote. He continued, I've since come to realize that it was extremely dangerous and irresponsible to push for a contentious hard fork without replay protection, especially when there wasn't consensus. As I just said, me culpa, Bitcoin is the real Bitcoin. A couple of things about his comment. The extremely dangerous, irresponsible part. You know what? I know Bobby Lee is an innovator and a pioneer in this industry. However, he isn't safe either. He, along with everyone else in that hotel, knew it was extremely dangerous and irresponsible when they went into that hotel room. They did not care about that. They knew Bitcoin was the real Bitcoin. What they care about was taking over the Bitcoin network and having control of it all so they could be filthy rich, even richer than what they are now. I mean, imagine a multimillionaire, hundreds of millions of dollars, or multi-billionaire saying, hey, I want to be a trillionaire overnight. Like, this is what these guys in this room did. They went in the room, they said, we all want to become trillionaires overnight, not just paltry billionaires. So he already knew it was extremely dangerous and irresponsible. Again, the whole without replay protection, I didn't even get into that, people. I mean, this is a whole show within itself. The whole part of SegWit 2x was to be a scaling solution. So everyone said Bitcoin couldn't scale, but with their hard fork that they were suggesting, there was no replay protection, which means if anything did go wrong, there was no saving the network base. That is the layman terms of it. If something went wrong, there was no way to save the entire Bitcoin network. And again, Bobby Lee, along with the rest of his cronies like Jeff Garzik and all those people, they're willing to put the entire blockchain at risk just so they can have their contentious hard fork. And again, he ended it with especially when there was a consensus. And that's the problem with people like Bobby Lee. The last part of his statement is especially when there was a consensus. That should be the first part of the statement. That is why the hard fork should not have even been discussed, because there was no consensus. The thing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it is supposed to be something where it's transparent and everyone agrees on which direction we're going to go, or at least the majority agrees. And this was a case where there was no consensus. So you're talking about one of the basic pillars of the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin community not even being there. And it's the last thing he said. So honestly, I don't really believe him. I think he's about to tout another product here soon. He's trying to get back on everybody's good side. So again, SegWit 2x was widely viewed as an attempt by its corporate sponsors to supposed to be commandeer Bitcoin's development, contrary to the ethos of decentralization. Again, as it says, at this time, Lee's willingness to embrace it saw pushback even from his own brother, Litecoin creator Charlie Lee, who described his perspective as, quote, extremely lame. And again, here's some of his tweets. You actually see it here. He tweeted these out a couple of days ago. He's talking about how much of a strong supporter he is of Bitcoin. He's also a supporter of SegWit. And yeah, again, he has this long tweet strand telling people about what you should be doing, how you should be doing it. But of course, as I said, he was basically about to be backing something. It looks like this is what it is. Ballet Crypto. We have full support for native SegWit Beach 32 addresses. We encourage all the wallets and exchanges to support these addresses in this format ASAP. Let's see. He's talking about will soon let power users pick their own BIP. Of course, that's Bitcoin Improvement Protocol, 38 wallet passphrase. So I'm not sure about a lot of Ballet Crypto, but again, these type of people, they come back around when they have something to push. And it's funny, the top comment right here I see is 2 years later, and the only realization was that no replay protection is bad. 2x's lack of replay protection is like having corn in your crap. The corn isn't what qualified it as crap. But hey, thanks for finally speaking up. Some people don't own any of their mistakes. Again, this is the top comment, and this is my first time looking at the Twitter. I just pulled it up. And again, it's funny. I just said the same thing, but at least as this commenter said, someone is speaking up, because Bobby Lee is probably the only person speaking up. Everyone else is literally trying to just trying to erase it off their resume and again come out again a year or 2 years later with a new product. So good to see that people are talking about it again. It's something we definitely don't want to forget. What's going on, Harold George? Dylan Darchinville, BK in the building. What's going on, Erica? Just chilling. Sergeant Crypto. Let's see, Crypto and Culture, P-Man Van, Crypto Key, Madam Crypto, Jizzy Mac. Big Money thought they could hijack Bitcoin. Bitcoin had to prove it could withstand the attack. Jizzy Mac, that's actually a great point you made. And that was something that was brought up during the time of SegWit2x, was that a lot of people were saying, don't worry. I mean, I'll give it a Bitcoin day on this. So I remember when SegWit2x was coming into it, this was a time when we may or may not have been trading, heavily at that moment. So my whole thing was like, hey, do we need to, cancel the whole operation? What's going on? And his thing was like, the market's going to decide. The market already has decided whether these corporate sponsors know or not. And he was also saying that, hey, once the market does decide and this doesn't work, it's just going to be another reason why Bitcoin is the strongest. And that's what happened. I mean, I give it to him on that. As Jizzy Mac said, big money thought they could come in. Corporate people thought they could come in and just take over the entire network, which, again, if they would have done, would have made them even richer, because we're talking about billionaires here already, people. They were at the forefront of the cryptocurrency industry as of now. So it would just made them richer. But the network showed that even corporate sponsors could not flip Bitcoin upside down on its head without having no CEO, just by having a community presence of people who are paying attention. So that was pretty good to see. Just Chillin' said this whole crypto thing is a part of their plan, so it ain't going nowhere. Even Google is trying to do checking accounts. Look, I mentioned it the other day. I think I said on the 500 episode, PayPal has officially become a bank, people. I don't know if you're paying attention, but if you have a PayPal business account, which regrettably I do, but when you're dealing with banks, you need accounts from everywhere. But with the PayPal business account, they sent out something about a week or two ago saying that, hey, unless you write to them saying no, they're about to start sending out debit cards and credit cards and all this type of stuff. So PayPal is becoming a bank, and right, Google is going to be doing it too. I think that's the future. It makes no sense for it not to be the future. Anyone who has money, who wants to be involved in some type of money derivative game, because that's all banking really is derivatives on top of derivatives. They're not really storing or saving your money or anything like that. We know that. So anyone who has money is now allowed into that game. So I don't see why a company like Google, a company like Apple, you talk about trillions of dollars, you have money to loan out. A company like PayPal, I don't see why they actually wouldn't just become banks instead of trying to deal with banks and their rules and laws of the land. So we'll see what happens in that in the future. All right, next up, speaking of Bank of America ICE's ex-PayPal CFO's account. Someone asked, did you buy any Bitcoin? Wow. Let me read that again, people. Bank of America ICE's ex-PayPal CFO's Chief Financial Officer's account. Now, unless this guy is doing something highly illegal, which I doubt, because if they were to ICE's account, I'm sure the arrest would be coming shortly afterwards. But this literally goes to show that no matter how powerful you are, how much money you are, if you have a bank account, it's not your money. It does not matter. And this is one of the things when we talk about Bitcoin, we tell people all the time, where it's like, you might not see it sometimes if you don't have a lot of money. But if you have a lot of money, you'll understand that you don't have all your money. You don't have access to all your money whenever you want it. That could be a scary thing. But it looks like, as this article states, Bitcoin figures could gain an unlikely new convert after the former chief financial officer of PayPal appears to have abruptly lost access to the banking system. In an ongoing Twitter debate on November 18, Roelof Botha revealed that Bank of America had chosen to close his account. The reason was not stated in the bank's correspondence. Uploading an edited screenshot of a letter he had received about the closure, Botha summarized, after being a customer of Bank of America for 20 years, I received this notice today that they decided to fire me as their customer with absolutely no explanation. The event adds an irony which did not go unnoticed among cryptocurrency Twitter commentators, as Cointelegraph reported. They also mentioned PayPal, which is known for seemingly arbitrary account closures and freezing user funds. And of course, people went onto Twitter to encourage the PayPal exec to buy Bitcoin. Again, it's pretty funny here. You can see someone who asked them, did you buy Bitcoin? It was someone I just spoke of. Entrepreneur and Civic CEO Vinny Lingram, the same person who was a part of the 2017 SegWit2x with all those corporate greedy sponsors, all of a sudden asking people, did you buy Bitcoin, right? It's crazy how these people keep popping their heads right back up in the places they shouldn't be. But Again, Adam Draper also told him just to buy cryptocurrency. A popular trader rhythm says it's like they're trying to promote Bitcoin. I mean, this is nothing new to us here at the Gym in the Crypto if you watched our show. When I first jumped into cryptocurrency in 2016 and I started buying cryptocurrency using my Bank of America account, after 9 years of banking with them, I was called into their office. I mean, like a student who got in trouble at school, I was called into their office. And, oh, wow, this article doesn't look good. I need to minimize that. Pardon me, people. I was called into their office, and they basically gave me a whole interview on why I was buying cryptocurrency, would I continue buying it, what type of buys I was making, where did I get the money, even though at the time I had a career salary paying job. But yeah, Bank of America would do that to you. I mean, they put the full court press on me for buying Bitcoin back in 2016. And it wasn't even a big buy. I mean, it might have been a few $100s at the time. So that full court press is real. I believe it. I believe that he's telling the truth because I've experienced it myself. And again, it's crazy. If we're starting to see this happen, I don't know this guy's net worth. I would assume if he's PayPal's ex-CFO, he walked away with at least a few million, right? So if they're doing this to millionaires now, what do you think they're going to do to your little account that has 30K in there or less? You know what I mean? So it's something to definitely pay attention to. This is a guy, again, after being a Bank of America customer for 20 years, this is a notice he received. Your account will be ended and restricted from use in 21 days and permanently closed 30 days from the date of this notice. Now, I'll actually give Bank of America more credit than I will Coinbase because this is what the email from Coinbase looks like, people, except it says immediately on there. It doesn't say 21 days and 30 days from now. I'm pretty sure that 21 days and 30 days from now is only because of actual raw laws and regulations, but Coinbase sends the same thing to you when they restrict and close your account via email. They don't tell you why. It's actually less than this. I see here, this thing goes into detail about what you need to do. Again, Coinbase gives you maybe 3 or 4 sentences. They say they're closing your account. The restriction starts now, and you're able to move money out of it, and that is it. So, again, it's crazy to see this happen to someone as big as this. You see he's getting a lot of retweets from a lot of the bigger names in the industry. So this isn't a small fry, right? And again, you need to pay attention to this. If a bank can do this to a millionaire, it will have no issue doing it to you small mom and pop retail investors out there. So pay attention. Let's see. P-Man Van, did you actually answer their questions? What questions were oh, no, I actually didn't. I kind of at the time, because it caught me off guard and I wasn't ready to fully switch banks, because you remember this was the time I really was going full into crypto. So I didn't want a lot of interruption in my business. So I did answer some of their questions, but I mean, it was very intrusive. I felt uncomfortable. And another bank I'm going to throw out there as well. I hate to do this to them because they do take care of service members, but USAA. I hate to do this. USAA is another one. I believe they gave me a call about a year or so ago. And I mean, the questions, like, it was the most intrusive questions. They were more intrusive than the security clearance check I had to do to get my secret clearance in the military. Like, that's how intrusive the questions were from USA. It was ridiculous. I'm just like, you guys have actually seen my pay stubs for years now, and you're asking me the question. You're asking me, have I ever wired money for anything against the United States? Or, I mean, basically, it was like, are you a terrorist? Are you using this money for anything bad? Why are you buying big? They were asking all these questions. This happened almost a year ago, if that. Might have happened early this year. So USAA, you can throw them in the pot with them. Bank of America aren't any good. We already know Chase isn't. I mean, where does it stop? What more reasons do you need to use cryptocurrency, right? Let's see. Crypto and Culture said, I owe Bank of America money, so they're not finna shut me down, LOL. That's right. If you owe them money, they will never shut you down. Just Chillin' said, that just shows they know the future value of Bitcoin is crazy. I mean, and that's the thing. There isn't a CEO to go after, so you have to go after the early adopters of it right now. But, I mean, they're making a big statement. You have a bank going after people who don't only want to use the bank as their only source of banking. Do you understand? I mean, imagine if McDonald's and all the burger places out there started going after people like, no, y'all can't have none of my burgers since you want to go to other burger places, right? Like, it's crazy. What if states were like, oh, you like to travel to other states? You like to travel to other cities? Well, you can't come back here. If you want to come to this state, this is the only state you can come to. This is the only state you can live in. You can't travel anywhere else. Like, really, is that what place you want to live? Is that a place you feel safe and comfortable at? So I'm seeing the same thing happen from banks now. Whenever you have a business telling their customers, you can't shop anywhere else or we will get rid of you. Oh, and by the way, our business is one of the backbones of the way we do modern business in our society, because basically the government has allowed that to happen, has given them a pass. So, I mean, it's just crazy when you look at it. So Captain James T. Crypto said, like Obama said, now everyone can walk around with a Swiss bank account in their pocket, just like the rich, minus the inflation of fiat and precious metals, immutable, verifiable, and Bitcoin. Why you say like Obama said? I got to see that part. I didn't catch the comments he made on that. Right. All these sanctions are done on purpose just to push folks into digital. You already know it. That's why they don't want you to travel with more than $9,000 of cash on you or $10,000 cash on you, because they do want to push you more digital where they can track that a bit easier. All right. Let's see. Last quick couple of stories. German airline company Han Air issues tickets on blockchain. That is right. I will say this read more like a sponsored post, but I'll continue on anyway. German airline Han Air claims to be the first airline company to issue tickets on a blockchain, the firm announced in a press release on November 18. The ticket sale using blockchain technology was made possible through Han Air's collaboration with a decentralized platform for the travel industry, Winding Tree. Frederick Nowotny, I can't pronounce that, head of sales engineering at Han Air, and Maskim, I can't pronounce this, the founder of Winding Tree, and David, CIO at Winding Tree, I'm just saying first names at this point, became the first passengers to use blockchain book tickets. Now, the reason why I say it sounds like a sponsored post, because of course, the highlight here is not actually this airline company or what they're doing, but it's Winding Tree. Winding Tree, who claims to be a decentralized platform for the travel industry. I will say now, I have not done my due diligence on them, so I'm not going to say if this is true or not. This is a top story. As you can see, that's coming in a day, so I haven't had that time to do my due diligence. But usually when you're talking about something as specific and niche as the travel industry, and you have a company already with their own blockchain, off the top of my head, from what I've seen in the past, I kind of find it hard to believe that they're already decentralized or fully decentralized, right? It wouldn't make a lot of sense, especially in this industry where there's a lot of hurdles and red tape. But let's just go ahead and believe for now that they are. I get where they're going with this. I mean, it's a pretty cool idea. They're saying that, hey, with this, using tickets on the blockchain, you might be able to automate airport security checks. You can use blockchain and the biometrics technology. And basically, there is just more trust and transparency across it, right? Now, one thing to note is that some of the things, the tokens that they would be actually using are only going to be the tokens that are given out on Winding Tree, on the Winding Tree blockchain. So you can't use Bitcoin with it. You can't use any major cryptocurrency. You can only use the Winding Tree cash and credit card. So again, when I'm looking at this from the outside looking in, I'm like, all right, you can only use this native blockchain's token, which I haven't heard of before. The blockchain hasn't been fully tested yet because it's new, clearly. So a lot of questions to be answered. We'll take a dive into it and take a peek. But it is worth note that, hey, if this works or if this is something that can work, then expect to see more of it in the future, which, again, this is all good news. It's one of those base hits for Bitcoin. So it looks like blockchain technology and digital currencies have been steadily entering the travel industry in recent years. Early in November, Alternative Airlines, a travel company based in the UK, partnered with crypto service UTrust to facilitate payments with crypto, including Bitcoin, Ether, Dash, Digibyte, and UTrust native token, UTK. So even here, this is my point. This UTrust one used their native token. That's because they are not decentralized, which again would actually make more sense for something like this. I wouldn't even blame them for it. I get it. So regardless, we might see our tickets on the blockchain, on someone's blockchain in the future. Whose remains to be seen, but again, still a base hit in the right direction. So it's pretty cool to see. I'm seeing some more comments coming in. We'll get to the comments in just a moment. I want to cover this last story. Not much of an actual story, but want to make everybody aware that CoinDesk did do a, what is it? They did a revamp, whatever it's called. A remodel. They did a remodel, whatever. The website is different, as you can see. You can see the charts here when you click on the little graph, which is cool. We saw that earlier. You can see the actual news stories or the different tabs here. It looks like the site is still being built. And you can see the top stories from clicking on the third tab, which of course is going slow for me right now for some reason. Let's see if I can get that thing again. So you can see the news stories by clicking on third tab. I see what they're doing. I get it. Trying to be, cool, technologically savvy and all this good stuff. You can see the events that are coming up as well. That's what it is. But my thing is, I'm not a huge fan of this site yet. As you can see, I'm still learning to play with it. Here it is. The top stories are only being shown one at a time. So I like what they're doing. The color, it looks pretty cool, but it made it a lot smaller. I don't know. We'll see how it is. Let us know if you like the new CoinDesk outlook on it. The one thing I will say, shout out to CoinDesk. They are still doing cryptocurrency news at the very least, as well as Cointelegraph. Shout out to them. We know some other cryptocurrency sites that have went down in the past, so at least they're still pushing it. But want to give people a shout out or CoinDesk a shout out if you want to go check out that updated site. And last but not least, to take a peek at some of these last quick comments. Let's see. We have what's going on about is Granville the second. Jizzy Max said, meanwhile, the Fed is printing billions and don't have to say who they are giving it to. It's pretty crazy when you look at it. P-Man Van said, when I tell my friends that banks are the government's police, they look at me like I'm a nut job. No, yeah, you definitely can't have those type of conversations with people. Anything that bucks the system, like you're the crazy one, right? Captain James C. Crypto talking about Obama's statement. I'm assuming he said that Bitcoin is dangerous. And the last thing we need are citizens walking around with a Swiss bank account in their pocket. Oh, hilarious. Oh, well then, right. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Like Obama said, then everyone can walk around with a Swiss bank account in their pocket. Jizzy Mac said they created a database. And last but not least, good looking honky was going on. Lexington Steel. Churches in the South are like banks now. Hilarious. I'm going to end this show on that comment. Unfortunately, not just in the South, but yeah, you're right. In the South, there are definitely huge banks when it comes to churches. It's like that in California too, and most places around the world. I mean, look at the Vatican, right? It's the biggest bank and probably on the planet, if we know it. All types of gold and treasures are buried there. So, I want to repeat that and end it again. Churches in the South are like banks now. That's hilarious. That's the show for today, people. Again, tomorrow for Tuesday's show, it will just be me streaming for the most part this week as Bitcoin Zay still on his book tour. So the show may either come very early or later in the afternoon. Either way, make sure you have those notifications on. You get that, and then I'll be back around 10-ish on Wednesday. Yeah, everybody's LOLing at this good-looking honky comment. He came in at the end for the big save. Other than that, that's the show for today. As always, thanks for watching. Please make sure you smash that like and share button, and I will see you all tomorrow. Cheers.